Hi everybody, sanibonani. Welcome to my channel. Igama lami nguNtando Mdletshe, and on this channel siyazifunde iy'ncwadi ey'bhalwe ngolimi lwethu lwesiZulu bese siza la sokhuluma ngazo le ncwadi esuke siy'fundile. Sixoxela laba phela abasuke bengenaso isikhathi sokuyifunda incwadi nalaba abasuke nje benqena ukufunda. Siyaphinda futhi sibuka ama-reality shows ethu la eMzansi bese siza la sizokhuluma ngawo lama shows, senze ama-reviews or ama-recaps. Siphinde futhi sikhulume nga-any other issues avukayo uma ngabe lama shows sesiwabukele kwi-TV. Uma ngabe uyaqala ukusijoyina namhlanje and you really like our content, please press u-subscribe button la ngezansi. Uma ngabe ibhathini libomvu lisho ukuthi awukazi usubscribe, bese uyaphinda futhi upressa i-notification bell la eduze kuka-subscribe ukuze phela uwuthole umyalezo uma ngabe umsebenzi omusha sesiwufakile. Namhlanje-ke I'm going to do i-reality show entsha laphayana. Is it new or it's new on Showmax? Bonang. There's a new show Bonang Showmax. I think right now banama episode 1 and episode 2. It's called Bonang. Yeah. And really honestly I'm interested in the show for a number of reasons. I was actually telling my daughter, I would like for you to watch this show. Guys, honestly, I think anything ekhombisa iy'ngane zethu ukuthi they mustn't limit themselves when it comes to dreaming, because it's one thing to dream something and it's another to go after that dream, and you can't go after a dream that you never dreamt. And some of us sikhula, we didn't even know ukuthi it's an option to actually think about go New York and making it there. We didn't even think that. We thought, you just have to study and get a job la ekhaya. Ube nendawo ukwazi ukudla uyigqokise ube nendawo yokuhlala, that's all. We didn't know. So I think ukuthi ama-shows akanje, I really like them because they really, when our kids watch, they can see ukuthi the world is so much bigger than just here elokhuzana eMzansi Africa. So it's a good show for kids to watch. Of course, asifani nothando nesithembu nobani laba thina esibabukayo, but I just thought I would follow the journey and see if the show interests me enough to keep following it. But impilo kaBonang mina, it interests me. I don't follow her a lot. Angiyena lama fans lawa Instagram what, but in general her life really interests me because of how she has been able to make it being a South African and being as young as she is. So this show is about Bonang. Remember a while ago there was ama-reports ukuthi Bonang has moved overseas. I like watching ama-shows overseas. So I was watching Breakfast Club one day and I'm like, Aibo, is this Bonang or what? Guys, when I talk about Breakfast Club, even for ama-celebrity ase-US to get to Breakfast Club, you are big in US if you get to have an interview in the Breakfast Club. So for her to get there and like a month or two later, she's on the Breakfast Club. My mind was blown. This woman has really just made it, and she does her interview and she's just herself. It really is an interesting interview. If you want to go watch it, search Breakfast Club Bonang Mateba, you'll be able to see that interview. It really is a great interview. So she had moved to New York. My understanding was that she's moving there permanently, meaning that she's gonna do her work and all of that there. But I wanted to watch the show because sometimes by reporter isn't they say I'm a journalist. I wanted to watch the show and see what it was all about. While said she's moving to New York, and guys, she moves to New York. My understanding is that New York is one of the most expensive cities in in America. I don't know if I'm right, but my understanding is that it's one of the most expensive. And my lapha view ama-apartments akhona, I'm like, shwele baba nkulunkulu. Abubonanga, hayi bo. So now, while she is moving, she's also preparing. Remember, she had a launch here. Is it a wine or champagne line? B&G? Is it champagne or wine? Yes, she was preparing for that launch. So it gives me the impression ukuthi vele issue was shot a while ago, because we all know as we stand ukuthi there are issues zokuthi engazi ukuthi that champagne or wine or whatever doesn't really belong to her. There are legal issues akhona. And yeah, and people are saying, yeah, Bonang has been pretending to own the wine and she doesn't own. Guys, if anybody can pretend to own wine and make millions from it, Hey, I want to know how they do it. Now I want to pretend to own SAP. I want to pretend to own SAP and make money from it. I'm like, what's she pretending? Hi guys, but BNG, how would she come up with the name BNG? But then at the end, the one is not really hers. But then she was able to make money, like millions from it. Like, how does that work? I don't know. I don't really believe that the one doesn't belong to her. Maybe phela she had partners and then kunaleyo mibango now lawo ma-disputes lawa khona, but I really just don't believe that akulona elakhe. Kodwa-ke sizobona mhlawumbe bazosikhombisa that back on the show. And okay, so she's there. So at home she's preparing for the launch, but then she's there. The idea that I get is that they are trying to come up with this talk show that they want to do with her, which is going to be in different countries. Like, so she's gonna be in New York. She does the talk show, and then she moves to another country, and then she does it. So it's like a pop-up talk show. A pop-up shop, like it would be like in town. There is no shop here, and then one day they just put a matende or something, and they do a shop, and but there is for that day, and then the next thing it's gone. So they say it's going to be something like that, but it's going to be a pop-up talk show, which I think it might be a good idea. But I'm just thinking the production of it is going to be so expensive because it involves like traveling overseas. And also, apparently, they have done a documentary. I need to watch that documentary. There's a documentary that she just did when they said that it's called The Public Figure. I haven't watched it. It's about influencers. How people are making a career out of being influencers, out of being in social media, and how that works. They say the documentary is very educational, especially for like young people. I want to watch, and then if I feel like it's really educational, then maybe I will say my kids can watch as well. So she's there with her team. Manager yakho David Phillips. David Phillips. I'm wondering, I'm an artist. So if you go overseas with your manager, you have to pay for them to come with you and pay for their apartment and pay, or they pay for themselves when a jubaniki salary up. I don't know. Because there's a time where she says if Philip doesn't do something, she will be sending him back on an economy class. So it gave me an impression that she actually flies him there and maintains impilo yakhe there. Banemali obonanga. Anyway, she's meeting with Brian Caso, CEO of Red Button Films, which are the people that did the film Ilokuzana, le abakhuluma ngayo public figure, and then there's also Kelvin Thompson, who's a legal person for, I guess, legal. So I'm hoping Bonang Nai has a legal person there because they're talking deals, they're talking about the talk show, always, and they want to create this talk show, traveling, whatever. So I don't know if these people, Bonabase Red Button, are going to also produce Ilokuzana, that talk show that Bonang is trying to put together. So now I'm wondering, so is Bonang in New York permanently? Like she's gonna live in New York, but still travel for work, but her home is gonna be in New York, or she's in New York to just do certain things there, and then she's gonna be back in South Africa, and then she's gonna travel for. That is still not clear, guys. So when they're talking about it and they're talking about, I think they had put in Amalokuzan, is it posters or billboards for the for the documentary, and she says on the billboard they had put that she is an influencer, and she says no, I am not an influencer, I am influential. My career was not made by social media, and I think she's right because Bonang became famous before the social media craze. And she says, yeah, she likes being described as a award-winning media personality, which totally makes sense. So she wanted to correct that, and her manager was very. She says it's not good to tell abantu influencers, but honestly, nami I wouldn't want to be called an influencer because I'm an influencer the way they are right now. Nimbonile loyani. I am an influencer, my friends. So sometimes we're like, I don't want to be associated with this. Yeah, but she's clear to say she is not an influencer, she's influential. And she uses social media, she uses the social media to present her work to the people. She uses the social media to promote her stuff, to promote her wine or champagne. I still am not clear. Is it a champagne or wine? To promote her work, but she's not, her career is not made by, Anyway, she was a presenter on what was that show on Friday on SABC1 before we even knew what there was Facebook. Well, Facebook was there, but Instagram, no. So, yeah, and Facebook didn't create influencers. I think mainly it's Instagram who created influencer. And then she's blowing up apartment, guys. Yazi ebusuku angilalanga ngicabanga i-apartment ka-185,000. I'm like, are they saying 100 not 185,000, 185 million? Yes, because every time Papa in my head it was saying 185 million. 185 million. I'm like, no, maybe 185 million rand, not 185 million dollars, because ayibo angilalanga ebusuku. I'm like, she viewed i-apartment ka-185 million. What? Phela if you buy ilokhuzana an apartment ka-185 million, it means wena une-billion in the bank. You know what I mean? Like, should une-billion in the bank, because to actually maintain ilokhuzana apartment that costs that much is actually millions too every month. Every month I was like, yo, but she does talk about which she's a believer in. She says she read in Madeleine, The Secret, guys. If you want to, I haven't read that book. One day I tried to read it. My sister had it and I tried to read it. I was like, yeah, I'm confused and it gets to put amazed. But secret, my understanding of the secret is about manifestation. You know, they say good, and if you say something, if you say something, then it becomes true. Manifestation is like that. I would say sometimes, like in my wardrobe, when I want new clothes, even when I don't have money to buy new clothes yet, I would just tidy up my wardrobe and take my old clothes out. And in my mind, I'll be talking, God, I need new clothes, and pick them up. And my wardrobe is like half empty while I'm waiting. And then the plan will come up for me to get new clothes. That's what you manifest. And I will be saying, because I heard someone say, I think it was Iyanla Vincent, to say ukuthi sometimes when you hold on to old things in your life, new things don't come because there's no space. Like God sees your house, the wardrobe is full, the cupboards in the kitchen are full, so there's no space. You okay, but if you create space, then it's like if you uqoqa wardrobe yakho and remove impahla endala, you create space for new things. But yeah, the way she explains, she says she likes sometimes to go and touch and feel izinto that she cannot necessarily afford at the time. Feel it, see how it smells, how it feels like to sit in that apartment, and one day she gets it because that's how she manifests it. So I don't know whether the 185 million apartment was one of those things that she was using as a manifestation, or it is like she really was considering buying that apartment, but she's looking for an apartment. I'm not clear if she wants to rent or she wants to buy. But yeah, angazi futhi ukuthi uhlelephi njengamanje, whether she's in a hotel or whatnot. Yeah, so she's pulling apartment. Khona ebebethi i-costa up to 9,000 dollars, and I was like, okay. I went to the internet exchange rates yesterday. Exchange rates was like 14 rand, and I'm like, 9 times 1426, 9,000 times 1426,000 rand. There are people paying a rent 126,000 rand. Like, you'd be building a family a house every month in South Africa. Like, I'll build this family 126,000 a house. Tomorrow build another one. Next month you build another one. So you'll be Uhulumeni in South Africa if you have that money. But okay, yeah, I guess guys, she really does have a lot of money, Bonang. Like, even more than we think. I think she might possibly be a billionaire. I don't know. And then she meets with a lady who is designing shoes. I'm not understanding it, Delia shoes, whether she wants to be in business with this lady or she just wants somebody that is going to design shoes for her. Guys, you can actually go to somebody and they design your shoes. Like, siyothungisa iy'mpahla thina masoya emcimbini bona, they just make me some shoes. So I'm not clear they're getting into business, but it's sort of like a business meeting. She's showing her design. Apparently one of the designs, she already had that designer, this lady. She's really talented, that lady. Shame when you look at the designer that she has, it's really, it's interesting and it's really good stuff. And then she's looking at one of the designs. She's like, I already have your shoe. Here's your shoe. She's showing her Itatsulo that she posted on Instagram. She's wearing those shoes. And I'm like, Nati, we have those shoes. That Nama, I have those shoes. But I mean, ngikuthenge. Am I trying? Exactly. That shoe, guys, that shoe, it's corner, even a true words, you know. And then sikhona futhi Mr. Price. You know, phela it depends. Are you a true words person? Are you a Mr. Price person? And then sikhona ama-Chinese, and are you a Chinese person? Thina siyathenga ama-Chinese. When it shines and it's nice, you wear 2, 3 times and you go there and then you buy another one. But I found it very fun because that's me and Amang is that's a special one. It's a beautiful shoe, but I'm like, there's nothing special about this shoe because I've seen it so many times. Because obviously, la bantu abenza le icathulo that are cheaper, they look at those designs and then they take them basenze in a cheaper, form with cheaper material, and they sell it to us for 150 rand, and we buy it and we wait to work, and they ncoma you, yo, waziwa muhle isicathulo sakho sihle, and you're like, yeah, it's the same as Bonang's. Yes. But and then she meets with Usakhile Mchunu Orosi. I'm like thinking, is Usakhile living there, or she just moved because they're doing the show and umngani kabonang angekho clear lapho. But she says Usakhile is like a family to her. They're just talking, catching up, and all of that. It's very cold. They're looking very hot. And hey, yeah, guys. Anyway, my lesson from this show, honestly, like I said in the beginning, it's a show that I would want my daughter to watch, and my son too, because I just really want them to know that there is no limits to what they can dream. There's no limits to what they can dream, to where they can dream of going. They can go anywhere. I always tell my daughter's doing grade 12 this year, and I was like, I always tell her, don't forget that there are options to go study overseas. So look into that as well. So that they are not as limited as we are. Anyway, that was the episode 1 ka Bonang. Yeah, so I guess also this show is going to be just about that year when Bonang is in New York. Apparently she's back now, so we'll see what's in it, how it goes. If it doesn't bore me, I will continue doing the show for those who like the show. Ngisho ngathi about too. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like it before and share it with your friends, with your family, and even with strangers. Nginethanda kakhulu.